Good afternoon on what is a bright, warm and sunny day. It is Monday the 5th of September. I've got a nice hot cup of tea. And a parcel to continue digging into. So I've already pulled some stuff out of this. So let's delve back into it. So of course we've got the Strontium Dog role-playing game and Road Trooper role-playing game, all of which use the rules from the Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD role-playing game, all of which I thoroughly recommend, but unfortunately are out of print. But what I'm actually unboxing is this, which is titled for, so let's see, Space 889, a scenario for Space 889. This is On the Trail of the Gods. Now, Space 889 is a role-playing game that came out in 1989, arguably the first steampunk game. It's set during the late 19th century, and it essentially inspired by sort of like the classic science fiction of the period, and then of the Edwardian period, where you have mankind spreading out and colonizing the inner solar system. So in the setting, Thomas Edison invents the ether screws, travels to the moon, and they go to Mars and discover civilizations. And of course on Mars you have the Martians and canals between cities, and then Venus is a hothouse jungle, and so on. And then very soon after that, you have the rush of the great powers to establish their presence on these new worlds, to colonies and allies and so on. So you have Prussian and British, French and Belgian colonies on Mars and Venus and so on. Now, it's a type of game that isn't quite as popular these days, primarily because, you know, the colonialism and imperialism has been reassessed for its general effects in the long term. So this may not, Space 89 is not necessarily a role-playing game for everyone. This is a scenario for the second edition, which was published in 2018, something like that, by Clockwork Publishing, and uses the Ubiquity system, and that was a bit more aware. And likewise, the forthcoming third edition will even be more aware of the impact of the history upon the period, and open it up to playing more options and more ideas within the setting, I'm sure. What we have is On the Trail of the Gods, one of the scenarios which was published for the setting. Everything Jules Verne could have written, everything H.G. Wells should have written, everything Arthur Conan Doyle thought of but never published because it was too fantastic. On the Trail of the Gods. Since the inventors Edison and Armstrong set out on the first journey to Mars in 1870, there has been speculation about visitors from other worlds to Earth as early as the prehistoric times of mankind. Archaeologist Alistair Whitman believes he has found proof. The characters invited to join the Glasgow International Exhibition in 1888, where they can learn about the latest technological inventions and even meet celebrities like Nikola Tesla. When the exhibition receives threats, they realise that Whitman's discovery might be an explosive issue. Not just scientists are interested in it, and the characters have to take care that this knowledge does not fall into the wrong hands. This venture is set on Earth, especially in Glasgow, in Scotland, Egypt and the Sudan. The characters will journey through the Sudan, where they will have to be aware many dangers, such as the followers of the Mahdi, who are fighting about his succession. A long journey up the Nile will take them into currently unstable territories where the characters will be on their own. Will they choose the right company? Will they achieve the rescue of Whitman and escape his persecutors? The characters will learn the answer on the Trail of the Gods. The adventurers can be of any nationality, even if the starting point of this journey is set in Scotland. The events of this adventure challenge various archetypes, including academics, discoverers, reporters, scientists and soldiers, but other adventurous characters will be just as useful. So we do have that sort of like imperialism against essentially being extended down the Nile. with the Mahdi uprisings in the late 1880s and early 1890s, which would famously end in the death of General Gordon, which was essentially, as an event, was sort of like scarred the Victorian psyche, as it were, because he was a great hero. But this sends the player characters into that territory. So we open up, got the cover reprinted on the inside. Quite a simple contents page. I've got character recommendations and introduction, and straight into the season, where we have an exhibition at the Athenaeum, and an invitation, including to meet both the Prussian fellow, as well as Mr. Edison and Mr. Tesla and Hauptmann Hans Vogel. So we have stats for Vogel at least, although not Edison or Tesla. You don't really need them, but again, this is putting the stats up front where you kind of need them. And we run into Whitman's reputation and what's going on with Vogel. He gets abducted, and then you have the player characters get a request from Lord Bury to attend the Glasgow International Exhibition of 1888, at the Scottish Archaeological and Historical section. And it's quite nice, I think, that one of the pleasures of this is that it's taking the sort of like the Space 1889 setting away from where you think it would normally be set. So in this instance, obviously London or Paris or somewhere like that. No, Glasgow. I think that's great. And then we have an actual illustration of the exhibition, which I think is inspired by the Great Exhibition of the 1850s, which took place at Crystal Palace, initiated by Prince Albert, of course. So we have the exhibition opens and the opportunities for academic arguments. So excellent. If you really got an academic character, this is a great scenario to run or play. Sorry. Then we got discoveries and sabotage and spies and so on, all at the hands of Vogel before we encounter Alice Whitman, which is presumably going to be related to the archaeologist and scientist Whitman. And then, of course, it's off to Africa. So it's a chance essentially they could take any means. They could sail, they could travel by airship, or even Edison's flyer, depending upon what resources they have access to, what friends they made. And then it's into Egypt and beyond. Quick explanation of the situation in Egypt, and then really it's down to it's sort of like the peoples and the situation in Sudan, and you've got a map here of the Nile, essentially travelling along the longest river in the world. Lots of interesting details about Sudan, the background, and trouble in Sudan, and getting the player characters involved. So travel from Cairo to Aswan, to the Wadi Haifa. Company, you've got the various NPCs described here, like Anaya the Greek, Apre Bay, and so on. None of these scenarios are really very heavily illustrated, and that's a bit of a disappointing. I certainly would like the NPCs to be illustrated a bit more. And then we come to the Chamber of Night, which is obviously dedicated the destination to confirm or deny Whitman's theories. And we have a nice little bit of interaction between a visitor and the locals there, but again that's kind of inconsequential artwork. That's not really helping the look of the book. And then it's out into the desert, to the ruins of Moreau, the Temple of the Sun. And into the Chamber of Night, and below to the Crystal Bridge, the secrets of the world, the secrets of the past will be revealed, and so on. And that's it. There's nothing. It's essentially ends sort of like, and at this point, possible catastrophes of things that could go wrong, and brings the scenario to conclusion. So yes, it's enjoyable that I think that Space Age 89, the role-playing game, is expanding the setting for its adventures, not just concentrating on Mars and Venus. In fact, I really only barely looked at one scenario for Mars in the series so far, and I think this should be fun to play. Anyway, that's on the Trail of the Gods for Space 1889, published by Clockwork Publishing via Modiphius Entertainment. So, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box containing a book or game which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.